world that shares everything, the wise share nothing. We live in a time where even our smiles are posted, our peace is broadcasted, and our happiness becomes content. But what if the reason your joy doesn't last is because it was never meant to be exposed? Buddhism teaches us that the most powerful happiness is quiet. It doesn't beg for attention, it doesn't demand applause. It simply exists, pure, unshaken, and deeply personal. When you speak less of your joy, you feel more of it. When you stop chasing validation, you finally meet yourself. This is not about hiding, it's about protecting. Not every light needs to be on display. Some flames grow brighter in silence. If you've ever felt drained by the noise, misunderstood in your peace, or uneasy after sharing your happiness, then maybe it's time to walk the quiet path. A path where silence isn't emptiness, it's strength. 1. Practice noble silence daily. In Buddhism, silence is not about emptiness or isolation. It is about deep, intentional presence. It's the space where awareness blooms and truth is heard without words. When you choose to be silent, you're not avoiding life. You're stepping more deeply into it. Try this. Every day, set aside just 10 minutes. Find a quiet place. No phone, no background noise, no conversations. Simply sit. Close your eyes if you wish. Focus on your breath. Feel the air entering and leaving your body. Let your thoughts come and go without chasing them. Don't judge what arises, just witness it. This is called noble silence. It's a practice of observing without reacting, of listening without speaking, of existing without performing. At first, it may feel strange. You might feel restless or even bored. But with time, you'll begin to notice something beautiful. Beneath the mental chatter, there's a quieter voice. It's the voice of your true self, not the self that is shaped by social media, opinions or expectations, but the self that simply is. That's the part of you that doesn't need validation, that doesn't crave approval, that doesn't need to announce joy to feel it. When you practice noble silence, you begin to live in alignment with your inner world. You stop performing happiness for others and start experiencing it for yourself. You realize you don't have to explain your peace, you just have to protect it. And in silence, that protection becomes effortless. Let silence be your sanctuary. Let it be the sacred space where your soul breathes freely. 2. Let go of the need to share everything. We live in a world that constantly tells us to share. Post the moment. Announce the win. Tell everyone how happy you are. But Buddhism teaches a different path. One rooted in inner fulfillment, not outer display. Not every joyful moment needs to be broadcast. Not every personal success needs applause. When we constantly share everything, we dilute the sacredness of our experience. We begin to seek validation from others, and slowly our happiness becomes dependent on their reactions. Imagine planting a delicate seed. You wouldn't dig it up every day to show people how it's growing. You'd water it, protect it, keep it safe until it's strong enough to bloom. Your joy is just like that seed. It needs peace and privacy to fully grow. The Buddha taught that attachment to praise and attention can lead to suffering. The more we rely on others to affirm us, the more we lose connection with our own inner source of contentment. When you let go of the need to share every high point of your life, you begin to reclaim your power. You stop living for the reaction and start living for the experience itself. This doesn't mean you should hide your happiness out of fear. It means you honor it. You treat it as sacred, not as something to be consumed by others. Because sometimes the deepest joy is quiet. It's felt in a smile that no one sees, in a victory that only you understand, in a peaceful moment that needs no caption. Let your joy be yours. Let it grow in silence, free from judgment, untouched by envy. Protect it like something precious, because it is. 3. Reduce your words, increase your awareness. In Buddhism, words are powerful, but they are also limited. Speaking too much can scatter your energy, confuse your intentions, and distract you from what truly matters. Every time you speak without mindfulness, you move further away from the present moment. That's why Buddhist monks often take vows of silence, not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand the value of saying less. When you begin to reduce your words, something remarkable happens. Your awareness expands. You start to notice things you once overlooked. The tone of your voice, the emotions behind your thoughts, the energy in a conversation. You realize that much of what we say is driven by habit, ego, or the need to fill silence. But silence doesn't need to be filled. It needs to be felt. Try this in your daily life. The next time you're about to speak, pause. Ask yourself, is this necessary? Is it kind? Is it true? If it isn't, let the words pass like a cloud in the sky. You'll find that speaking less often leads to deeper connections, not fewer. Because when you do speak, your words will carry more weight, more clarity, and more intention. Reducing your words also helps you quiet your inner noise. So much of our mental stress comes from replaying conversations, worrying about how we were perceived or planning what to say next. When you choose to speak less, you create space. Space for peace, for reflection, for presence. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You don't need to win every argument, prove every point, or share every opinion. Sometimes the wisest response is no response at all. Not out of weakness, but out of strength. Let your silence be your teacher. Let your awareness be your guide. In saying less, you hear more. And what you hear is the sound of a life lived with intention and peace. 4. Walk mindfully. Live quietly. In the Buddhist tradition, even the simple act of walking becomes a form of meditation. It's called walking meditation, and it teaches you to move through the world with awareness, grace, and deep inner stillness. Every step is taken with intention. Every breath is honored. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is ignored. Now imagine living your entire life that way. Not just walking, but speaking, eating, working, resting. All with calm awareness. That's what it means to live quietly. It doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world. It means becoming so rooted in your own presence that the noise around you no longer disturbs your peace. To practice mindful walking, start small. Step outside without your phone. No distractions. As you walk, pay attention to the feeling of your feet touching the ground. Notice your breath. Hear the sounds around you without labeling them. Don't try to get somewhere. Just walk. Just be. When you do this regularly, your mind begins to slow down. Your nervous system calms. You begin to realize how often you rush through life without really living it. You stop trying to keep up with the pace of the world and instead start moving at the pace of your soul. Living quietly doesn't mean being passive. It means being purposeful. It means letting your energy speak louder than your words. You no longer need to announce your peace. It's felt by those around you. People will feel the difference in your presence. You won't need to prove your joy because your calmness will radiate it. You won't need to tell others you've changed. They'll see it in the way you carry yourself. Slower, softer, more rooted. So walk like your steps matter. Live like your peace matters more than your performance. Because it does. 5. Stop seeking external validation. One of the greatest teachings in Buddhism is the understanding that suffering often comes from attachment, especially attachment to how others see us. We crave approval, we chase praise, we feel happy only when someone else tells us we should. But this is not real happiness. It's dependency in disguise. When you constantly seek validation from others, you hand them the key to your peace. Your emotions begin to rise and fall based on their opinions. One compliment makes you feel high. One criticism makes you doubt everything. You become like a leaf in the wind, easily swayed, easily broken. Buddhism invites us to go inward, to find stability in the unshakable place within. The Buddha taught that true peace comes from detachment, not from coldness, but from clarity. When you detach from the need to be seen, liked, or understood, you begin to live with incredible freedom. Start by noticing where you seek approval. Is it in the photos you post, the way you speak around others, the need to explain your decisions? Then ask yourself, would I still do this if no one applauded me? When you release the need for validation, your actions become purer. Your joy becomes quieter, but deeper. You begin to enjoy your life for yourself, not for the reaction it might bring. You stop performing happiness and start experiencing it. This doesn't mean you shut people out. It means you stop needing their approval to feel worthy. You realize that your value was never in their hands. It was always within you. So smile without expecting attention. Celebrate without announcing. Grow without broadcasting. Your peace is yours alone. And that makes it unbreakable. 6. Observe without reacting. In Buddhist teachings, there is a powerful practice called equanimity, the ability to remain calm and balanced no matter what is happening around you. It doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. It means you don't let those emotions control your behavior. Think about how most people live. Someone says something rude and they snap back. Someone praises them and they become attached to the compliment. Their peace is fragile, always reacting, always swinging between highs and lows. But Buddhism teaches observe first, respond later, if at all. To observe without reacting is to reclaim your inner power. You no longer allow others to push your emotional buttons. When someone tries to disturb your peace with negativity, you stay still. When life tests you with stress or surprise, you don't panic. You pause. That pause is sacred. It's where wisdom lives. Try this in your daily life. When you feel triggered, stop. Don't speak immediately. Don't act. Just notice what's happening inside you. Notice the tightness, the urge, the story in your head. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Most of the time, it's not. You are not a puppet. You are not here to be pulled by every insult, every opinion, every circumstance. You are here to remain rooted, like a tree that doesn't sway just because the wind blows. Over time, this habit makes you feel light and untouchable. You realize that not every comment needs your reply, not every problem needs your panic, and not every moment needs your reaction. Peace comes not by controlling the world, but by mastering how you respond to it. And so stay quiet, stay free. 7. Journal your joy. Don't broadcast it. In today's digital world, the moment we feel happy, our instinct is to share it, post it, announce it. Let the world know, I'm doing well. But Buddhism invites us to take a different route, one that leads inward instead of outward. It teaches us to honor our happiness, not display it, to cherish it, not advertise it. And one of the most powerful ways to do this is through journaling. Think of your joy as a sacred flame. When you expose it to the wind of public opinion, likes, comments, comparisons, it flickers, it weakens. But when you keep it sheltered, when you write it down quietly in a journal, it grows stronger, steadier, more real. Start this habit simply. Get a notebook that feels personal, one you won't use for anything else. Each day, take a few moments to write about what made you feel grateful, content, or at peace. It doesn't have to be big. It could be the taste of your tea, a moment of silence, or a kind word from a stranger.
अपने फोटो की गाना गाते हुए वीडियो बनाएं। बस अपना फोटो अपलोड करो और आपकी वीडियो बनकर तैयार।
Stranger. This is your joy, seen only by you, understood only by your soul. When you journal, you begin to recognize how much goodness is in your life that you've been overlooking. You start to see patterns of growth. You notice how you've changed, how you've healed, how you've matured. And most importantly, you stop chasing approval from others. Because you're no longer performing your happiness, you're experiencing it in its purest form. Social media is fleeting. One moment people praise you, the next moment they ignore you, or worse, envy you. But your journal is always safe. It's your sanctuary. No judgment, no noise, just you, your truth, and your pen. There's a quiet power in keeping things to yourself. The Buddha often taught his disciples that silence and reflection are the roots of wisdom. When you turn your attention inward, when you reflect on your happiness privately, it becomes more meaningful. It becomes a part of your spiritual path. Journaling also helps when you feel low. On days when peace feels far away, you can look back at your own words, your past joy, and remind yourself that happiness is still within reach. You wrote it, you lived it, you can feel it again. You don't owe the world an explanation for your smile. You don't have to capture every moment for others to see. Sometimes the most powerful proof of joy is a heart that sleeps peacefully at night without needing anyone else to know. So, next time you feel truly happy, pause. Don't rush to share it. Pick up your journal, write it down, let your happiness live in ink instead of pixels. Let it belong to you alone, because the more you protect your peace, the more it grows. 8. Cut down on complaining. Increase gratitude. Complaining feels easy. It's a reflex. Something inconvenient happens. We complain. Someone annoys us. We complain. We don't like the weather, the food, the traffic. We complain. But in Buddhist practice, complaining is seen as a mental habit that drains your energy, blocks your awareness, and feeds your dissatisfaction. Every time you complain, even silently, you affirm to yourself that something is wrong, that life should be different than it is. And over time, this habit creates a mindset of lack. You begin to notice what's missing instead of what's present. You start focusing on flaws rather than beauty. You develop a lens that always looks for what's wrong. And in doing so, you miss what's right. In Buddhism, one of the most powerful teachings is contentment, the ability to find peace in the present moment, no matter what it looks like. This doesn't mean you pretend things are perfect. It means you stop arguing with reality. You learn to accept it, to work with it, and most importantly, to find something within it to appreciate. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is attachment, the clinging to how we think life should be. Complaining is just another form of attachment. It's an argument with what is, and every time we indulge in it, we become more entangled in our own dissatisfaction. So, how do you break this habit? You replace it, not with fake positivity, but with real gratitude. Gratitude is not just saying thank you, it's seeing clearly. It's acknowledging that even in difficulty, there is something good, something to learn, something to grow from. It's shifting your focus from what's missing to what's already here. Start small. Every morning, before you reach for your phone or think about your problems, name 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. It could be the feeling of sunlight on your skin, a deep breath, a good sleep, a cup of tea, anything that makes you feel grounded. Then, throughout your day, catch yourself when you begin to complain. Notice the urge, pause, and ask yourself, what else is true? Maybe the traffic is frustrating, but you have a car. Maybe work is stressful, but you have income. Maybe your body hurts, but it's still carrying you through the day. These small reframes are powerful. They don't ignore the hard. They simply choose not to dwell in it. Gratitude shifts your vibration. It makes your mind quieter, your heart softer, and your presence lighter. You begin to see that life isn't perfect, but it's precious. And the more you see through that lens, the less you need to talk about what's wrong. In Buddhism, monks live with the bare minimum, yet they smile deeply. Deeply. Why? Because they don't base their peace on possessions or circumstances. They've trained their minds to find joy in being, not in having. And you can do the same. Gratitude is a practice. Complaining is a habit. One feeds your soul, the other drains it. Choose the one that brings you peace. 9. Surround yourself with stillness. In Buddhism, your environment is not just physical, it's spiritual. Where you spend your time, the people you surround yourself with, the energy you allow into your space, all of it influences your state of mind. That's why Buddhist monasteries are often built in nature, far from cities and distractions. Not because monks are escaping life, but because they are choosing to live in alignment with what supports inner peace. Stillness isn't just about silence. It's about the quality of your surroundings. Ask yourself, is your environment chaotic or calm? Do the people around you create drama, or do they help you grow? Are your spaces filled with noise, clutter and tension, or do they invite breath, pause and clarity? Most people live in a storm and wonder why they feel anxious all the time. They keep themselves surrounded by loud energy, fast movement, constant talking, notifications, arguments, gossip, and then they try to find peace by meditating for 5 minutes. But peace isn't something you occasionally visit. It's something you build around you. Buddhist practice invites you to be intentional about your space. You don't have to move to a monastery to live in stillness, but you do have to become aware of what disturbs your calm and gently begin removing or reducing it. Start with your physical environment. Is your home filled with clutter? Clean one space. Is there constant noise from the TV, music, or background chatter? Try turning everything off for 1 hour a day and notice how your nervous system relaxes. Add elements of peace to your space. Plants, soft light, incense, or objects that bring you spiritual calm. Then look at your digital environment. How many unnecessary voices are in your feed? Who do you follow that makes you feel agitated, jealous, or distracted? Your phone is not just a tool, it's a portal. Every scroll is an entry point for influence. Choose what you let in. Follow only what feeds your mind with clarity, wisdom, or stillness. Mute what doesn't. Now, the harder part, your social environment. Buddhism teaches the importance of right association. The people you spend time with either pull you into noise or lift you into peace. If you're constantly around people who complain, gossip, argue, or chase materialism, you'll absorb that energy even if you don't realize it. Your energy is porous. Protect it. You don't need to cut people off with anger, but you can create space with love. Spend less time where your soul doesn't feel safe. Instead, invest time in solitude or with people who make silence feel comfortable, not awkward. The best people are not those who fill the air with endless words, but those who can sit in silence with you and feel connected. Remember, stillness is not the absence of movement, it's the presence of awareness. It's walking through life without rushing. It's listening without interrupting. It's being calm in a room full of noise, not because the world is quiet, but because you are. Build your life like a temple. Let your home be a place that welcomes peace, not pressure. Let your mornings begin with breath, not chaos. Let your relationships reflect harmony, not exhaustion. And let your heart be drawn toward what softens you, not what hardens you. A monk doesn't wear orange robes and shave his head just to look different. He does it to simplify his life, to remove distractions, to live with intention, to be fully present. You can do the same in your own way, maybe not in robes, but in choices, in silence, in how you treat your surroundings. Stillness is a form of power. In a world addicted to speed, stillness is rebellion. It's strength, it's clarity. When your life becomes quieter on the outside, your mind becomes clearer on the inside. And in that space, your true self awakens. So surround yourself with stillness, not just for peace, but for presence. That's where joy lives. 10. Be happy, but stay low. Our progress for likes, for validation, for attention. But in Buddhist wisdom, the deepest happiness is often the quietest. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it doesn't seek an audience, it simply is. To be truly happy, you don't need the world to witness it. You don't need to shout about your blessings, your peace, your inner growth. Why? Because the more you expose your joy, the more vulnerable it becomes. You open it to misunderstanding, envy, and unwanted opinions. That's why one of the most powerful teachings in Buddhism is the practice of humility and happiness. Be happy, the Buddha might say, but stay low. Keep your spirit light, but your presence grounded. Smile inwardly. Walk with peace. Carry your joy like a flame, protected, not paraded. In nature, the strongest trees don't boast their strength. They simply grow, slowly, quietly, deeply rooted. They don't need applause. They don't need to prove anything. They endure storms, not because they are seen, but because they are stable. You can be the same. Your happiness can be your sacred space, not your performance. When you learn to stay low, not in self-doubt, but in self-containment, you begin to cultivate true emotional wealth. Staying low also means resisting the temptation to measure your joy by comparison. In today's world, comparison happens almost everywhere. You look at someone's life online and begin to question your own, but what you're really seeing are just their highlights, only what's on the surface. You can't compare your quiet peace with someone else's public moments. What you feel inside matters more than what they show outside. In Buddhism, this is known as mudita, which means feeling joy in others' happiness without making yourself feel less. But this is only possible when your own happiness is steady and comes from within. When you stop competing and showing off, staying silent also helps protect your energy. If you speak too much about your goals or inner peace, you may start living for other people's reactions instead of the real feeling. You shift from truly being to only appearing, and slowly, without even noticing, your happiness begins to depend on how others see it, not on how you truly feel. Here's a truth that feels hard for many. Not everyone likes to see you at peace. Some people feel unsettled by it. Some feel jealous. Some may act supportive but secretly hope you don't succeed. This isn't a reason to be afraid of others. It's a reason to protect your light. You don't need to explain your happiness to anyone. You don't have to defend your peace, your quiet time, or your contentment. You can be happy without posting it online, without announcing it, without making it appear special for others. Learn to smile when no one is watching. Celebrate in silence. Let your life feel good, even if it doesn't always look good. That's where true strength is found. That's when happiness cannot be shaken. In Buddhism, monks live this way every day. They eat in silence. They rise before the sun. They work in quiet, pray in quiet, and walk in quiet. Their lives are not for show. Their lives are for truth. And still, in their simple ways, there is great meaning. In their peace, there is a strong presence. You can feel their calm even when they say nothing. This is the art of being happy while staying humble. Not because you are hiding, not because you are afraid, but because you no longer seek outside praise. You've chosen truth over showing off, depth over noise, and peace over performance. And this choice changes everything. When you stop needing attention, you begin to see yourself more clearly. When you stop trying to impress others, you start inspiring your own spirit. And when you stop chasing approval, your inner light begins to shine even brighter. So walk with humility, smile gently, speak less, and feel more. Be happy, not to perform, but as your natural state. And remain humble, not because you are less, but because your peace is too valuable to be displayed. The world doesn't need proof of your happiness to know it is real. Let others notice it in your calmness. Let them wonder why you are so at ease. Let them feel the strength of a joy that expects nothing in return. Because when your happiness no longer needs to be noticed, it finally becomes real. In a world that values noise, silence becomes a sacred act of rebellion. While others rush to be seen, heard, and approved, you can choose another path. A path walked by monks. Wise ones and seekers of peace find it not in the spotlight, but in the quiet. The 10 Buddhist habits you've just learned are not strict rules. They are reminders. Reminders that your joy doesn't have to be loud to be true. That your peace doesn't need anyone's approval to exist. The strongest happiness is the kind you carry in silence, like a hidden blessing within you. Practice noble silence. Let go of the need to be noticed. Speak less. Live more. And when happiness enters your heart, don't rush to show it to everyone. Sit with it. Honor it. Keep it safe. Because some of the most beautiful things in life grow best when unseen. Keep your happiness quiet, not because you are hiding it, but because it is sacred. And sacred things deserve silence. Let your calmness speak louder than your words. Let your presence be stronger than anything you post online. Just breathe deeply and enjoy your life quietly. Let others feel the power of a joy that asks for nothing in return. Because when your happiness no longer needs to be seen, it finally becomes real. In a world that celebrates noise, silence becomes a sacred act of rebellion. While others rush to be noticed, heard, and approved, you can choose another way. A path walked by monks. Wise people and those who seek peace find it not in the spotlight, but in the quiet. The 10 Buddhist habits you've just learned are not strict rules. They are gentle reminders. Reminders that your joy doesn't need to be loud to be true, and your peace doesn't need anyone's approval. The strongest happiness is the kind you hold quietly, like a secret blessing within your heart. Practice noble silence. Let go of the need to be noticed. Speak less, live more, and when happiness enters your heart, don't hurry to show it off. Sit with it, honor it, and keep it safe. Some of the most beautiful things in life grow best when no one is watching. Keep your happiness quiet, not because you are hiding it, but because it is sacred, and sacred things deserve silence. Let your calm speak louder than your words. Let your presence be felt more than any post you share. Just breathe deeply and enjoy your life in gentle silence.